Okay, so this week in Pax Day, we had the developers showing up to Unreal Fest and debuting a featurette with some new tech, as well as the Golden City. We also got new spells being featured, a wipe being confirmed for the autumn update, but it's not exactly what you might think it is. And then a updated image of what some of the maps are going to look like with a whole heck of a lot of new icons and a preview of what the journal is going to look like, specifically for crafting and recipes and tracking all of that stuff. There is a lot to talk about, and we're going to try and cover it in 20 minutes or less. So hello and welcome, all of you amazingly professional consumers of Pax Day and Pax Day related content out there. I'm Altari, the professional gamer, and this is another episode of the PAX Friday Review, the show where we talk about all of the fun, interesting, new, and exciting information that has dropped for Pax Day over the last week. And like I said in the intro, there is a lot to talk about. Unreal Fest happened, I think it was this Tuesday, and we had both Thor and Sulka from Mainframe showing up to Unreal Fest in Seattle, and they debuted some new tech, specifically some information with regards to how server meshing and the different layers will actually work in Pax Day, or are actually working in Pax Day. The Golden City, the city that the Golden Company, my company, was working on, also got featured. Really cool. We're going to have a full walkthrough showing up at some point in time on this channel, so I'm really excited for that. But we also got a quick little teaser of some of the new armor sets that are going to be showing up, as well as what looks to be a die system. And you can kind of see that in the video that's playing on in the background right here. But all really, really cool stuff, though obviously a more catered selection specifically for developers who are at Unreal Fest, not really anything altogether too new. Thor went up there and he did say that a lot of this stuff, there's going to be a lot of new things coming very soon. What I didn't know is that that was going to be something that was directly tied to this Friday's update from Mainframe, and we have a lot of stuff to cover. So first and foremost, one thing, just top down, there is a wipe that is coming to Pax Day. We will talk about that in detail once we get over to the website. But for anyone who's just wondering what's going on, there is going to be a wipe. It is not going to be wiping your character. You're not going to lose any of your progress, quite literally none of your progress. You will lose your plots, and everything will be taken away from the plots because the world itself is changing. The mesh is changing of every map. So with that, they don't want your plot to now be underground or wherever, under a mountain, I think they said as well. So all of your items and materials are going to be put into something, into a box, into some menu that you're going to be able to access so that you can more easily rebuild after the wipe. I think this is a really cool feature that they want to test as well, because I think this is going to be something that when Pax Day finally transitions into a subscription-based model, when you stop subscribing for a period of time, I feel like they are going to pack all of your stuff up on your plot and remove your plot, but you're going to be able to easily reclaim it and rebuild, obviously either back at the same location that you had before or at a new location of your choosing. They haven't confirmed that. That's just my supposition, but it's based off of a lot of information that they've given in the past as well. So with that being said, when is the actual update going to be happening? They said within the next month. So it looks like by the 1st of November, we are going to have access to Pax Day's autumn update. There's a lot of new features that are going to be coming out, and we're going to be covering a lot of those features as we learn about them on this channel. So if you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and share this video with any of your friends. That's more so to help the channel as we continue to cover Pax Day in the near future. But with all of that, we only have about a month of time before we get access to all of the amazing new stuff that is going to be coming in the autumn update. I think it's going to be a little bit of a sleeper update. We know it's going to be a big one, but I feel like there's a lot of features that are getting added that we just aren't even thinking about right now. We are going to cover all of the current journal updates that we got from this week's post, as well as there was a teaser for some new spells, and we will show that as well. But let's go ahead and hop over to playpaxday.com, where the spotlight on the journal plus some bonus info was posted. I will see you over there. All right, so here we are at the spotlight, the journal and bonus info post on playpaxday.com. And there was a lot of interesting little tidbits here as well. And we're going to go over those really quickly and then go into digesting some of the screenshots as well, because there are some interesting things that a lot of people probably missed. Now, first and foremost, what is going to be the journal feature or function of the journal? And really what I believe Mainframe has noted is a lot of players, when they first came into Pax Dei during early access, there was a lot of ambiguity and not necessarily clear information when it comes to recipes, how to craft things, and how that entire system works. I've been playing Pax Dei for quite a while now, thousands of hours, and I'm still learning the intricacies of the crafting system. I can only imagine how difficult it will be for a player once all of these new systems that they're planning on adding to the game, plus all of the current ones, get kind of more fleshed out, how difficult it's going to be for players to really get to that point. So with that, the journal feature is supposed to guide players through the crafting and how you can really navigate all of these things without having to go to a crafting bench to see what you can craft. You should be able to just see it in the journal and see what the requirements are. So a couple of things that it's going to have: it'll show unlocked recipes, so you can track all of your unlocked recipes. This is going to be really useful. I think it's going to be pretty much like what we see in a lot of other survival type games where you unlock new blueprints or new crafting recipes. It's going to be like Ark or something like that. And you can kind of see it down here in the journal. Then there's also going to be an ingredients overview. So this is going to allow us to really take a look at the ingredients that we've picked up, so that if we're interested in trying to do some research on what a particular ingredient is, because again, ingredients right now are very rudimentary. You put them in and you always get the same output. But in the future, the crafting system is going to be a lot more intricate, and different ingredients that you could potentially add to recipes are going to change how you get things as an output. So being able to read the ingredients without having to have all of them in your inventory is going to be super powerful. Then also, obviously, the unlock notifications are going to be located in here as well. There's going to be some more interactive ingredients. So what this is that you can have clickable ingredients within the recipes to offer further information, enhancing your understanding of crafting needs. So what would be really, really cool is if this system eventually allows you to almost like an inspection system where you can look through a piece and then maybe like click on it and it opens up and there's a secret in there that you can, use to unlock or craft something else. Or maybe there's a hidden resource inside of this resource, but the only way you can find it is through inspecting it. I do like the idea of interactive ingredients and what that entails in here. This might be kind of a prelude to the knowledge system, where books are going to be something that exists in game. It's been confirmed by the devs multiple times, and there's going to be different quality levels of books, and you're going to have to be able to ascertain what different qualities of books are and whether or not you trust all the information that's located inside of them. I feel like the journal is going to be almost an area where that interaction might be happening. Who knows? Then there's also going to be sorting and filtering, which is great. It was awesome to learn that we had that feature in the crafting stations, where you could put like I : and then whatever sigil or whatever thing that you were trying to craft, and it would show you everything that includes that resource. I is for include. And then also the recipe pinning. So recipe pinning is something that's coming in a future update, but the journal is going to allow for it. This is going to be huge, especially as someone who is one of the armor smiths for their clan. Being able to track all of the necessary requisite resources for making like 30 of something is really nice. It's a really super awesome quality of life, because I'm sitting there with my calculator just piecing things out. Okay, how much large steel sheets do I need? How many bolts do I need in order to craft 30 things? And it's just a lot easier if there's a recipe tracker embedded in the game. So there are a lot of screenshots that they shared showing the journal system. We'll take a look at that in a little bit as well. But I did want to talk about the very last part of this post really quickly. And that's they are still actively testing a lot of parts of the content update, but they do plan for it to be released within a month. And it is, as of recording, October 4th. So we can expect to see it by around November 5th or before that, anytime between now and then, pending some of their testing and checking. So that's really, really exciting. And one of the last things that they wanted to let us know is that with the content update, they are going to be changing the geography of Pax Dei. So we are going to have our plots wiped. Now, like I said, during the first half of this video, you aren't going to be having your character wiped. In fact, your character is going to be able to, and this was confirmed by devs on Pax Dei's Discord, your character is going to be able to be selected into a new realm and into a new server. So you won't be stuck to where you are, but all of the resources, your equipment, everything that's on your character, all of that stuff is going to be safe and saved, ideally, depending on how they do the system. But their goal is to have everything saved so that when you do pick your new realm, you do pick your new server, and you do pick your new starting location, Home Valley, you will be able to place new plots and get to work with all of the old resources that you had gathered. It appears as though everything that is on your plots is also going to be included in that. So my guess is you'll just have like a inventory or something in like the plots menu that you'll be able to withdraw some of these resources until they've been completely depleted. They will most likely share more of what this system is going to look like in the future. So take everything you hear right now with a grain of salt. We will get more clarity within the next 4 weeks. But they also mentioned that we're going to be getting a new biome. There's going to be a review of the resource distribution. Hopefully that means that the location of clay deposits and stone deposits and all of those things are continuing to be reassessed. We always have issues with those because some of the most scenic locations in Pax Dei also happen to be some of the most precious locations for resources. And when players put their plots down, those disappear. Now, they're also changing some existing and adding new PvE locations. We'll touch on that when we look at the screenshots. And they're also adjusting some of the borders for the home valleys. So there's a lot of changes coming in with the map, which warrant this particular swap. But I think that one of the big reasons why they are doing the plot wipes but not character wipes is twofold. I think, one, this is a feature that is going to exist in the end product of the game, where when players aren't subscribed anymore after a period of time, the game is going to pack all of their stuff up on their plot and remove the plot until they resub. And all of that stuff will be located kind of in a box somewhere in a menu, and they won't be able to withdraw it until they re-up on their subscription. I think that's kind of the direction that they're going with it. They've mentioned something like that in the past briefly, and this seems like more of a clarification of that original idea. And then also they are going to probably be adding additional crafting tiers, and they don't want to remove player progress yet. We do know that there is going to eventually be an addition to the game that is going to cause the skill system to have to be reset, which means we're going to have to make new characters and level up. And then obviously when the game leaves early access, there's going to be a full wipe of both plots and characters, and everyone's starting back at square one, which is great. We're all getting really good practice up until this point. But with that being said, I think the reason why they're letting us keep the skills and our character progression is so that we can continue advancing past that level 40, 41 barrier and go into more tier 5 level crafting, which would probably warrant something past steel or past the fine leather or past the fine linen cloth kind of area and into more advanced crafts, maybe including silk, or what we saw in the past. And I think Alpha 1 was high carbon steel, or I think even Damascus was teased at one point. But either way, we're going to be getting additional crafting tiers. And I think based on how long it took to get to max level in the current version of the game, they want us to keep testing and they don't want to make us start all the way back at square one just yet. Now, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the screenshots really quickly. I will see you all over there. All right, so here we are at what seems to be one of the more exciting screenshots at first look. And first and foremost, the reason for that is because if we zoom in right here, we are going to see 4 spells. And of those 4 spells, I'm pretty sure at least 2 of them are new. This third one may or may not be a spell that we've already seen, but let's talk about what these may or may not be. These 2 are the most exciting, and this one in particular really caught my eye because it looks like it is a movement spell. At least that's what it looks like to me. This looks like a shoe, and this looks like another shoe, and there is some kind of movement spell maybe for this. Another one, this was an interesting take for this one. These kind of look like the same clovers or the pips that exist with the crafting disciplines for difficulty. So someone suggested that this might have something to do with crafting. I don't think it would if they were in a combat scenario, but either way, I am really interested to figure out what these are. Let me know down in the comments what your guesses are for all of these different spells. Obviously, Pilgrim's Fire is Pilgrim's Fire, but let me know your thoughts. I would be really interested. Now, another couple of things worth noting here as well is all of the bodies that are kind of scattered around. A couple of weeks ago, we got a firsthand look at some of the new models for the Inquisition. I think this is confirmation that those new models are indeed going to be located in the autumn update. You can see kind of the long chainmail chest piece that's covering all the way down to the person's feet right there. And I'm really liking this new theming for the Inquisition. Like I said before, they are from Anatolia, which is supposed to be kind of more of a Middle Eastern equivalent or Constantinople equivalent or something like that, where it would be the equivalent to kind of the real world area here. We also see that our player character is wearing a new type of armor. This is a armor piece that doesn't exist in game right now. You can tell because of the emblem that's on the back, and that's really exciting. But then kind of the elephant in the room here is also this giant pillar and also kind of the new models that are placed in the back here. This pillar is one that we've seen in concept art before, and I do believe that this is kind of the new theming for the Inquisition to make them a lot clearer as to what they are and who they are and why they're here. Now, it will be cool to kind of see this get more texturing done and not look very obviously like it's just blending into the floor here. But either way, looks like they have a bunch of sticks and they're getting ready to do some kind of bonfire here. So really interesting to say the least. So here are a couple of the journal entries. I'm just going to go through these ones a little bit more rapidly. Right here, you can see that clover with the four heart-like symbols here. Very similar to what this is, though I do know it's kind of tilted on its side. But either way, we aren't seeing really any new recipes on this particular area, but you can see that the journal is showing up kind of where the skills tab was before. You have your crafting, combat skills, and then there's also recipes and ingredients. Looks like the journal tab is also going to include other things, or it has room to include other things in the future. Here we can see some of the filters, so you can have it ascending alphabetically and then look up different skills and all the things that would be required for those different skills. Again, there doesn't look to be any updates anywhere here, though the wrought iron pommel does look like it's been updated in terms of its model, which is pretty cool. But everything else here was pretty standard and hasn't seen any changes. Here we're looking at the ingredients section, and you can kind of see that you can click on these ingredients. It's going to give you the description and also show what recipes things are used in. Again, nothing that is new on this front. And then also we're looking at another ingredient where here is coarse leather bands, and you can see it's populating all the different recipes that include it that the player knows up until this point. And then here it's just showing kind of that these things change as well as bone fragments are used in all of this stuff. So last thing that we got was an updated map for Ancien, and there is a lot of things on this map now. And really there are a couple of different types of symbols that are now located here. And we're going to take a look at a couple, and I'm going to give a couple of guesses as to what they could be. Now, of everything, there is a very clear new specific symbol that exists on the map, and those are these little tents. I think these are going to be the more solo PvE focused areas that players are going to be able to go to and work on and around. But there are also these other kind of icons that are located next to everything. Now, very clearly, these look to be the Inquisition. We saw the emblem literally right here. I think that's a pretty clear, straightforward representation that this is going to be the Inquisition. Now, with that, we also have this kind of spider-like emblem here. Now, these have always kind of been associated, at least in my mind, with the Zebians. This looks like kind of a Zebian style right there. And you can see that there's just a lot of these icons everywhere. Now, interestingly enough, the dungeons themselves do not appear to have a icon next to them, or at least not all of them. So this dungeon does, but then this dungeon doesn't. I don't know if these icons are going to be the final end all be all for the entire map, but it is really cool to see all of them. And then the last kind of emblem symbol thing that we're seeing is this one. Now, there are a couple of factions that haven't been represented yet. They did mention that they were going to be working on the Lost Souls kind of as another enemy faction and giving them more distinction. Maybe this emblem is referring to those, more of like the spirits or something like that. It could also be reference to the corrupted or maybe more demonic stuff, as opposed to the more Zebian look right here, which we see these kind of symbols all scattered throughout the dungeon so far. But either way, those are all of the appearances there. Now, with that being said, only a couple of other things seem to have been changed, and it'll be very interesting to see what all of these different points of interest are, especially the camps, because it seems like there are a lot of camps that exist in the game now. So that's going to be a lot of stuff for players to go and explore and experience. And it does also seem like a lot of them are concentrated outside of the home valleys. So that's really going to be interesting because it's going to pull players out into the wildlands a lot more. With that being said, that is all that we have to cover today. And I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. There was a lot of stuff to go over. I'm so excited to see these new spells and what they're going to do. There's just so much stuff coming in the autumn update, and the next couple of weeks are going to be great. We know it's going to be coming out in the next 4 weeks, basically. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to cover, and I hope you can join us along for the ride. If you haven't done so already, please do leave a like, subscribe so you can get notified whenever we drop any new Pax Day related content, and share with any of your friends who might be interested in the game or maybe be interested in coming back to the game now that there's a lot of new content to experience. With that being said, I'm Altari the Professional Gamer. I'll see you next week.